No? Okay. We're going to start off with a little bit of a review, and then I think we have everybody, 63 people so far, and Brittany and Mia, are you here?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm going to give you co-host. I got, let's see, I'll just keep letting people in on the waiting room. Remind me never to click that button again. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Okay, I made you co-host. Can you see if there's any participants that's waiting to come into the room? And if they are, could you let them in, Brittany?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of what we were doing. Okay, so we talked about the negotiation between Synertech and Dosagen. And then Brittany and Mia was nice enough to do a little demonstration of how a negotiation would go with those companies. Okay, so just a little bit of a review. That type of negotiation is a distributive negotiation. It typically involves only a single issue, like buying a building, buying a car, buying a house. Involves fixed sum negotiation. One person gain is another person's loss. So, like for example, in our house, the seller selling the house for 180, but we're only willing to pay 170. So the negotiation zone is that $10,000 in between. Okay. Almost directly conflicting interests. Each party is attempting to maximize their profit. So the seller wants to sell for the most they can sell for. The buyer wants to buy it as cheap as they can buy it. Okay. So basically, it's simply just dividing up the pie. Okay. And then we talked about a little bit about the BANTA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. The first thing you should know about the BANTA is before each and every negotiation. So you always know your BANTA before you're even going to negotiate. You're going to have what is called the 3 rule, where you're going to have backup BANTAs. So you're going to know what your best alternative is. Okay. For Synergen and for Synertech, building another plant would cost them $25 million. Okay, but that's just the cost of building a plant. That doesn't account for all the other things that go into that. So their actual price might even be $30 million. That's, part of what the negotiation might be. Okay, what was the BANTA for the Dosagen? Selling for parts for 17 million. So Dosagen really wouldn't go below 17 million because they can actually part up the company, sell off the pieces, and they would be no less off, less than 17 million. So obviously their bottom price is going to be 17 million. Okay, so know what strengthens your BANTA if possible. So knowing everything you can get to know about the other company is good for negotiation. Do not never reveal your reservation price. Okay, almost never ever will you ever do that. Okay, research the other party's BANTA and their reservation price. Okay, because if you know what their other alternative is, like building another facility for $25 million, well, that doesn't account for training the personnel, getting all the equipment in there. And in the case of and what was the chemicals, the biochemical process, they have to get FDA approved, which is a process that takes a year. So that 25 million could even be higher. Okay. Make first offers whenever possible. If they make the first offer, immediate re-anchor. So if they say 25 million and you want more than that, which much more, you're going to re-anchor to a ridiculous amount of 40 million or something similar to that. Okay, but not in the ridiculous category. Okay. Remember, we talked about reservation price is your bottom line. So that's the point where you just walk away. Okay. Reservation price is equal to your BANTA, and opportunity cost, switching cost. Remember, we talked about ego. A lot of times the ego is involved. Okay. And define your reservation price before negotiation. Know what your bottom line is before you get into the negotiation process. All right. Now, remember, we also talked about the negotiation bargaining zone. So the seller's target is, let's say, 30 million. The buyer's reservation is 25 million. Seller's reservation is 17 million. You know they're not going to go below that. Okay. So your aspiration level, so a similar plant was sold for $26 million. So realistically, that would be an aspiration level in this case. Okay. So everybody's downloaded the information that I put on iLearn about the Synergen case, right? Synertech and Dosagen case. So I'm going to review that real quick. All right. All right. So the general, okay, so all of our negotiations are going to kind of be like this. On Monday, we're going to go over some slides, learn about some definitions and how it applies to the case that we're going to negotiate. You're going to have this type of information available to you. So you'll be able to read the general thing of it, and then we're going to pick teams. The next one I think is going to be teams of 6. But generally it'll be one-on-one negotiations. So you'll have the teams of 2. And then you'll get a general information. You'll do the negotiations. And then on the following day, on Wednesday, I'm going to break it down for you and discuss how the negotiation went with a lot of people. A lot of people did some comments. Thank you very much on the discussion boards. I read through some of them. I didn't get through all of them yet. And we had team Mia and team Brittany, which is kind of funny. So I'll discuss a little bit of those later. But basically, this is what I'm going to go over. A lot of the things that you guys mentioned in there, that's what I'm going to go over now. Okay. The Dosagen plant is located in an area, many startup biotech companies. Given the nature of the work, this force is fairly mobile between companies. So there's a good workforce there that's very knowledgeable, that knows exactly what to do. Okay, so this information on this page is general information that everybody knows. Okay, so this is what you have to negotiate with as far as knowing what's going on with the other company. Okay, so if we scroll down, then we have negotiator 1, the seller. Okay, so this is the seller's negotiation. This is all the information that the seller's going to get about the other company and about the instructions of what they're supposed to do. Okay, so it tells it's a pharmaceutical company, 150 million, significant cash reserves. So both of these companies both have significant cash reserves. So cash is not a big deal for them. So they have plenty of money to buy and sell. So that's not really a big issue. Okay, so Dosagen is genetically engineered compounds are getting out of the business. So that's one of the reasons why they want to sell. Okay, so that's going to be on your negotiation preparation worksheet, which we're going to go over shortly. All right, and then if you shut down the plant, strip it, then you can get 17 million. So that gives us our lowest price. Okay. There's some questions that said, would you re-anchor if given you the price or looking to receive higher? Absolutely, always. And yes, okay. So if you have questions, you can chime in or do the on the bottom where it says the chat. Okay. And then if Mia's still here, she'll try and take care of that, or Brittany, or I can do that. All right. So basically, you go over, you read your information for the sellers for Dosagen negotiator number 1. Okay. If you shut down the plant and you can sell it 17 million. So that is your reservation price. So 17 million is the lowest price you're going to go. And then obviously the 26 million was what the plant sold for, but you don't that in the other area, but it doesn't say that information here. So apparently you don't know that. Okay. So the Synertex is a bigger company than Dosagen. So they may have better lawyers, more money, like cash on hand, and they know that and they can maybe take advantage of that. Okay, it says that you want to set, it must be sold for cash and it has to be closed within 60 days. No other terms to be added to the negotiations. So there's no other specifications, nothing else. Okay, a lot of times in negotiations and further in the quarter, we're going to do negotiations that have specific circumstance that has to be tied to the sale of the thing. But in this case, there's nothing. So this is pretty much just a straight up sell and buy. Okay. So this is what Synertech knows. So they're the buyer number 2. The CFO of a company is $700 million company. So they're bigger than the other company, have a lot more cash, and they need a plant to manufacture the genetically engineered compounds. Okay. So you cannot modify one of your existing plants. So they have to either build a plant or buy one. So it tells us that their highest price is $25 million to build a new plant. Okay, and that doesn't take into consideration from a lot of things. Okay. All right. So the total cost of the building is $25 million to build, or they can buy another plant that's fully operational, complete with FDA approval. Okay, and the FDA approval seems to be kind of a big thing because it usually takes a year to get FDA approval, and it says here they want to do this within 60 days. All right, so you kind of know by reading this that if we don't have something with FDA approval and we have to build our own plant, it's going to take us a long time. All right. Doshin Pharmaceutical Company with a sales 150, like we said, a smaller company, is suitable manufacturing. So that plant is suitable. They like it. The only disadvantage is 70 miles from the Synertech headquarters, R&D familiar. Okay, and you're about to meet the CFO, Doshin. You have full authority to do whatever it takes to get this within reason. Okay, so you can spend $100 million or you can spend $1 million. There's nothing on it. There's no restrictions. Okay, so when you guys do your negotiations, you're gonna obviously one person going to be Synertech, one person going to be Dosagen, and then we are going to this type of an agreement. You really wouldn't come into an impasse because both of you have really good incentives to sell and to buy. Okay. All right, so that's it for now. Okay. Questions about any of this information that we just displayed, which you all have access to and downloaded and read, right? Yes, you did. Okay. Okay, questions? You can unmic or you can put it on chat. You don't negotiate if you reach an impasse. That's when you get up and walk away. So for example, if the one company was going to only offer $10 million, you would say, well, that's not good. Because I can chop up the bits and pieces, sell the equipment and the land, and for $17 million. So why would you want to do that? Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. So sometimes you're going to negotiate and there is going to be an impasse because there's not going to be any common ground or any room to negotiate. So for example, if you go to a car dealership and say, I'm only going to pay $20,000 for a $50,000 car, they're going to say, hey, get off the lot. You're crazy. So if you have that type of mindset, then there's really nothing to negotiate. So if you say, I only want to pay $45,000 for a $50,000 car, then there's probably room to negotiate and they'll probably go, that you probably can. Thank you, Brittany. Yes, when you do log on to Zoom, please use your first and last name because we do roll call. Okay. Hurting the business relationship. That's a question by Vanessa. It all depends on what kind of a business relationship you have. If you're going to go buy a car at a car dealership, what kind of relationship do you have with that dealership? Probably not a very good one. If you're in business, I have very good relationship with my vendors, and I'm always trying to get them to lower their price. And sometimes they just say, "Shut up! This is the price you get, and if you don't like it, go away." So it all depends on what kind of relationship you have with your vendors or with the people you're doing business with that you negotiate. A lot of times I've negotiated certain pricing with my vendors, and they give me the best pricing available, and so I don't go back and renegotiate. So I just do that one time, and then I kind of check every year from then on about if I'm getting the best pricing or not. One example I had a customer said, I can buy this for $10, you're charging me $15, and my vendor was charging me $12. So I said, hey, I'm going to lose the business. Can you go lower? And they came back with $7.50. So I can make a $2.50 profit, which is ridiculous, but anyway. So yes, you can negotiate, renegotiate, and it doesn't necessarily hurt the relationship as long as, it depends on what kind of relationship you have. All right. What else we got? How can you close a deal you really need without seeming desperate? Well, if you're a good poker player, then you bluff. Yeah, somebody else put that. Thank you, Vanessa. It all depends, if you really need to close a deal, then I guess you're willing to go to your bottom price. That's one thing, is you never want to be desperate to close a deal. That would be the 3 rule in our BANTA. So if you really have to close a deal and you're really pressured to close a deal, then you better be a really good negotiator. All right. Any other questions? All right, let's go on to, okay, so we're going to do the worksheets now. So we're going to start off with Dosagen, the seller. All right, so these are available. So, okay, up on the top, you're going to put your name. You're going to put what negotiation this is. Okay. And then you're going to put in yourself and the other company. Okay, so the position, this is a seller, this is the buyer. All right, and these are the issues. Okay, so from reading number 1, the negotiations, you figured out that this is a sell by facility to manufacture bioproducts. Okay, so the next issue is plenty of cash on hand, so we wait for the sale or liquidations. So that means we're not really desperate, we're not pressured into doing this deal. The reason the other issue is we're getting out of the business, so we really don't need the building. It's more of a economic money drain to keep the business open. So we're going to shut it down, but we want to keep it as a whole and sell it with the employees and all the equipment intact. Okay. Let's see, we got another question. No? Okay. All right. So another issue is getting out of the business. Manufacturing plant has a unique configuration, so that makes it a little bit more valuable. Don't sell complete, strip down, sell for upwards of $17 million. That's if we don't sell it complete, so that's another one of our issues. We either sell it complete or we break it down and sell it for parts. Okay, but we want to sell the plant as a whole with equipment and employees, and we need to close the deal in 60 days. All right, so this is when you guys are going to get your participation points now. Okay, so from the point of the seller, I want you to give me some ideas to fill in the blanks here. So what are our best interests and what we have to do for the sellers for self? So go ahead and unmute and ask and tell me what you think. So we want to sell and buy a facility to manufacture bioproducts. Okay, so obviously what do we want to do here? You can chime in anytime for your participation points. I left this blank just intentionally just for you guys. Okay, so we already know that our BANA is the alternative is strip the plant and sell it for 17 million, and then our reservation price is 17 million to 20 million. Okay, so these are the main issues. How do we fill in these blanks for ourselves and for the others? What do we know about the other company? And what do we know and what is our motivation? Do I need to start calling on people?
Well, our motivation is to sell for the most amount of money that we can.
Okay, get the most amount of money.
Isn't our motivation also to get out of this industry? Because it's
Correct. All right, good. All right, now what about for the other company? What do they want?
Acquired at the cheapest price.
Okay,
Find a plant with an FDA approved plant.
FDA approved. Excellent. What do you got, Monica? You look like you're ready to talk.
I was just gonna say that they wanted to pay a low price, preferably under 25 million, because that was what the other plan was going to cost.
Okay, plenty on hand. So where was our Banta? Don't sell complete. Okay, so we'll go down here. Okay. What else do we have here? Okay.
The buyer also wanted to keep their workforce.
No, the buyer wants a workforce. The
Right,
sell-
right. I mean, keep as in
Yeah.
the other company's workforce, retain it.
Okay.
The seller's trying to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, the seller's trying to do that. Or-
Like they're using that as a negotiation tool to try to negotiate more money for the plant because of the workforce has already been trained and everything.
Correct. All right, very good. What else do we have here? All right. So both of them have plenty of cash on hand, so this is not an issue, right?
They just want to close in 60 days.
Mhm.
So wouldn't we still mention that or no?
Well, we don't. Okay, so this is us. Okay, we know we want to close in 60 days, right? Okay, do we, for example, we don't know that they want the workforce, but we can assume that they do. And we can also assume that they want the FDA approval. Okay, so once plant workforce, most likely they do, because we can deduce that because we've been in the business and we know, and we've done a little bit of talking with them, but we don't know for sure. Okay, so these are all points that we need to prepare for when we negotiate. Okay, so getting out of the business, and it looks like they are just now getting into the biz. Okay, so we're getting out and they are getting in because they cannot convert any of their other plants. Okay, so we can deduce that. The manufacturing plant has a unique configuration. For us, we are FDA approved, right? And we're going to assume that they want to be FDA approved. Because
Or wait a year, right?
what's that?
Or wait a year
Or
for their
what?
approval.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we want to sell complete. Okay. All right. So are you getting the idea what the process is with the negotiation preparation worksheet for the seller? Yes? Okay, good. All right. So obviously you put down your Banta here and we can kind of guess to see what their Banta is there. So being in the industry, knowing what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to build a new plant. And that's going to be at least 25 million just for the plant. Okay, but that doesn't take into consideration training, FDA approval. Okay, so we can deduce that. All right. So reservation price is 17 to 20 million is the lowest we're gonna go. And we think that they should go as high as 26 million. And why is that?
A recent plant sold, right?
Correct. So 25 million because a plant just sold for that. All right. All right, so this is our reservation, our Banta, and our reservation price, okay? Now for us and the other company, what do we want? More money, right? What do they want? Lowest price, okay? Okay, what do you want to find out, talk about? Okay, so what do we want to get information from them? What do we want to ask them? Go ahead, Aaron.
Can you ask them like why they're actually interested in your infrastructure?
Why they're what?
Why they're interested in your building?
Well, we already know that because they need the bio.
Oh,
They're doing genetic engineered engineering. So they're doing genetic engineering. So we know that. And then it says that in the beginning that our plant is it's a good fit for them. Okay. So what can we deduce from them? What other things do we need to talk to them about in order to get our aspirational price? Remember, the aspirational price is the 26 million or however much we think we can get the most out of it.
You can mention that another plant has been sold for 26 million.
Okay, so that'll be a negotiation point.
You can talk about the other factors that add value, like the trained employees and the FDA approval.
Excellent. Okay, so we can ask them about all these things. Okay, so we're going to deduce that they're going to have need the FDA approval. You're going to have the skilled workforce, right? All right, so we know these things, these two things are very important to them. Okay, so what would we like? We would like 26 million, right? We don't care about too much else. We would like 26 million, and we will go down as low as 17 million. Okay, what do we think they would like?
Less than 25.
Okay, so you think less than 25? All right, what else?
I got a quick question.
Yes.
Would it be possible to negotiate more than 25 because it comes with the equipment, skilled labor, and it's ready to produce?
Absolutely. What would be the value of that?
Remains to be seen. I mean, we can go to
Yep.
high, whatever they evaluate it.
Yeah, if you've ever done any kind of construction work, you know that nothing goes as scheduled with construction. So you have delays. Look at what happened right now. Say we were going to build this building right now, or say we planned to build it 3 months ago and we were going to break ground a month ago. We'd be dead in the water right now, right? With all this the coronavirus stuff. So stuff like that happens in real life. I mean, it's going to put a delay on everything, and when you delay, it costs money. Okay, so you got to always think of those factors. Okay, so what do we need?
Cash.
Closing
in 60 days.
Lowest. Somebody said something else?
Closing in 60 days?
Close in 60 days. Excellent. Anita, right?
Mhm.
Oops. Well, actually, we both need to close in 60 days. All right.
I think also like having the chance to use the money as soon as possible.
To use the what?
The money as soon as possible.
Okay. Oh, okay. So use the money as soon as possible, or I'm not sure what you're saying.
Like being able to get the money from them and be able like to use them and in like as soon as possible. Like less than 60 days for sure, but like as soon as better.
Okay, that's right. Nothing, you always want to get your money and you want to get it as soon as possible. Nothing in the case study says that they need the money for anything else. So it's not a really big issue, but yes, you do want to get your money as soon as possible.
Because I was thinking also like about the concept of time value money. So
Yeah.
like because of that, I was thinking better like to have it like before rather than like wait for like I don't know, months and years.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of times, like they said, the other company has to buy that spot, or otherwise they're going to lose it. So, Dosagen may need that money to buy another facility, do something else, but it doesn't really say. So we're just going to assume that the cash and getting it quickly, other than the 60 days, that's all it's for. Okay. What are your alternatives? So we both know what the alternative, or we all know what the alternatives are, right?
Selling for parts or building your own infrastructure.
Okay, so for okay, and this is
Oh, you can build the other building for the other.
these. All right, thank you, Paulina. Okay, what are the strengths of your position? Okay, so this is something you really want to consider because this could determine a yes or a no, or them walking off, or impasse on the negotiations. Okay, so what are the strengths of the seller?
FDA.
Improved.
Workforce,
FDA. Okay, what else?
Employees.
employee workforce, skilled workforce.
Ready to manufacture.
Good location.
Bad location.
Allocate, yeah.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
I think also the fact that they think that the plant is ideal. So I will play a lot about their interest.
It's in the same industry that they want.
Okay,
Ready to begin manufacturing.
okay, ready to go. All right. Okay, and another thing is not cash poor or don't need the money. All right. So what are the strengths of Synertech? From our point of view, what are their strengths? What do we know about them?
They have the money.
They have the cash.
They have another offer with the other plant. They have like a BATNA.
Okay, we don't necessarily know that. But we can probably assume that they have an alternative backup or building. Okay, so we'll assume that we're not the only game in town. All right, what else can we assume about them?
They're not in a rush to buy.
No, they are.
Oh, they are? I thought it was within 60 days.
No. But if you read, oh, we haven't got there yet. I'm sorry. As far as we know, they're not in a rush.
They know the other plants trying to leave the industry, so they have an incentive to sell.
Possibly.
They're a
Incentive,
larger firm.
what's that?
They are a larger firm.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next. What are our weaknesses of our position?
The plant is located 70 miles away from the headquarters of Synertech.
Okay. Okay,
Would the 19 million appraisal also play as a weakness for us?
it could. The other team can use that as a negotiating point. Okay, what else?
The real estate dropped 5%.
Okay. What else we got?
We're in a rush.
An
to
old
sell.
building.
I heard old building, then somebody said something else. Was that Sarah?
Yeah, we're in a rush to sell.
They're not really in a rush to sell.
Oh, I meant us. That's our weak point.
That's a weak point. Okay. Okay. Not necessarily a weak point, but we'll put it down. It could be or it couldn't be, and you could argue one way or another. Okay. So what are the weaknesses of the buyer's positions?
Finding the employees and
Okay, finding employees, finding skilled labor.
It would take 1 year to get the FDA approval.
Okay, if we knew exactly what we're doing in this industry, we would know they would take them a year. Okay, what else?
Build time for the plant.
Okay,
They have to commit to buying the new site very soon or risk losing it.
exactly. All right. All right, so we filled out the sheet for the seller. Okay, so likewise, you're going to do this with almost all of the different cases that you do. Sometimes you'll do this as a team, sometimes you'll do this individually. All right. Let's see all your faces out there. How you doing? Okay. So you guys bored yet? No, we're good. Questions so far about this?
Could you upload that template that we just built onto Island?
Already did. It's been there.
No, the one you literally just typed up.
The one I just typed up? Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Ask them if there are any issues with the building recently that buyers should know about. Okay. Ask us for them to keep the equipment. Very good. Okay, you can't sell people. That's illegal in the United States. So we can't sell the workforce, but we can offer to keep them on. Okay. No, the lecture slides have not been uploaded yet. I will get to that at the end. What's your hurry? We just started. Okay. Fill out on both sides. We have limited information. Yes, you do have limited information. We're going to go over the other one next. That's the part of real life negotiations is you don't know everything. They say the one with the most money wins, but it's actually the one with the most information wins. Okay, especially in the negotiations. Yes, we're going to do the buyer's worksheet next. So they'll give you more opportunity to get extra special participation points. All right. All right, let's go back to, we're not going to completely fill out this, but we're going to, prep worksheets, okay. Okay, so the Synergen worksheet is exactly the same. Oh wait, this is not the right one. But from their point of view, we actually know okay. Okay, so your name, negotiation. Okay, so this time we are this buyer. And so we actually know more about what's going on than what we just let on the other one. So buyer number 2 has a little bit different information. Okay, so when we go through that, what do you know? What do you want to know? What do you want? Okay, so we want a plant under $25 million, right? Okay. So we're not sure what the other one wants. We know they want to sell it. And depending on how our negotiation goes, we can find out more information about that, correct? Okay, for Centertech, what do you want to find out and talk about?
If you can get the workforce.
Correct. Okay,
If it's FDA approved.
correct. Okay. Is time an issue with them? So if you read the negotiation for the buyer for the sheet, the information sheet, why do they need to do something? What's going on?
And the production is going to begin in 3 months.
Correct. So the market needs their product or is ready for their product. Okay.
Could you also talk about the plant distance?
Not yet.
Could you also say that it has to be cash?
Yes. Cash and in how much time?
60 days.
All right. Okay, so that's what they want. Okay, so the buyer, we really don't know what the buyer wants yet. We haven't really negotiated, haven't really talked with them yet, so we're not sure, but we can assume that they want, we looked up the comparables because we can get that information. So we see that the, oops. So we see that a similar plant sold for how much?
26 million, I think.
26 million. Okay, so we know that, so we can deduce that they're going to probably ask for around $26 million, right? Okay. What else can we expect them to want? Think maybe ask them, since they're selling plant, if they still have their FDA approval. So we're going to expect them to have their FDA approval, right? So that's going to be part of the deal. Okay. All right, so what do you need is basically kind of a rehash of this. But what they really do need is the FDA and the skilled workforce, right? All right. And then the alternative is build your own plant. All right. Okay, so what are their strengths of their position? What do they have to offer? What do they bring to the table as far as negotiating power?
Well, we have an alternative plan, so that in itself already gives us some
They have-
leeway.
Right?
We have the money right away.
Yeah.
They have the cash. Okay. What other strengths do they have?
Could you say their reputation is a strength?
You could say that let's say they're large and in charge. They have the money, they have the size, they have the power, I guess. Okay. What can we deduce about the other company? What are their strengths?
Yeah,
As
low
far as we
workforce.
can tell, they don't really have like a rush to sell it.
Okay. Okay. What else?
It says they have a unique property.
Okay.
They are experienced in the industry.
They can also start production right away.
I'm sorry, do what right away?
Just start production. Start using the plant.
Oh, okay. So okay, what else?
They're
actually- sorry.
they're FDA approved.
FDA approved, right? Okay, so what else do we got?
Their workforce.
Yep, skilled labor. We put that down. We'll put it again, because that's actually a very important point. Okay. All right, so what are their weaknesses?
They're looking for workforce.
Time.
They would have to wait a year for FDA approval.
They could lose the plan if they don't buy soon.
All right.
They might also lose like their window in the market.
Better than what?
They might lose their opportunity to get on the market when it's
Product to market. All right. So what are the weaknesses of dosage in the cellar?
Location of the plant, the distance.
Absolutely. They even mentioned that. Okay, what else we got?
The low evaluation, market evaluation.
Okay.
The real estate market declined 5%.
Yes, that's the same thing. We will reword it. Okay. Maybe a smaller company. I don't know if you see that as a weakness or not, but we could put that down.
Older equipment that might need to be replaced, and depending on the latest equipment available, training expenses might increase.
I'm sorry, do what now?
Since the equipment is pre-existing, it might need to be replaced depending on its lifespan.
Okay, so older equipment, older building. All right. All right, very good. Okay, so we have this. Okay, so these are all the things you're going to do to prepare for your negotiation. All right. Let's save this. All right, do I have questions so far? Okay, let's go through the, you guys can ask me. Where's it coming from? The information, where this information is coming from, I posted this on iLearn. It's the Synertech Dosagen documentation under week 1. Okay, that's on iLearn. And the negotiation sheet is also on iLearn. Week 1 course material, there you go, thank you. Good looks, thank you. Is there a cost of building your own plant that includes the cost of employing new workers and equipment? Absolutely. So that's one of the things that's very that can be a weakness, because cost overruns. You have the cost of training the employees, the cost of getting all the equipment set up and the employees trained on the equipment. That can be upwards of $10 to $15 million, depending on what kind of equipment and what kind of training you have to provide. And special, sometimes they don't do the electrical correctly in these buildings. So you have to go through and redo the whole electric for what you need, so real world scenario is you could have a million things that go wrong, and it's going to take you 2 years to build the building as opposed to moving in 30 days. Yes, that worksheet goes for either side. So you prepare that worksheet depending on what side you are, how you're going to do it. Okay, I don't want you guys, I'm going to put the information up there on the next one. I'm going to assign you a negotiator. You're either the city or the union. I don't want you to read the other one. I mean, you're not going to do yourself any good. You may know more about the information than the other person, but it's not very ethical, and 2, you're not going to learn anything. If you know everything, you're not going to learn how to negotiate. Okay. Let's see. The entire workforce is what you need, Brianna. That's just that's something that you would negotiate for, but most likely, if you're going to buy a plant, the equipment, you're going to need the entire workforce. If you, in the real world, the first people to go during a merger or a selling is the people that are duplicated, like the accounting people go first. Then it's usually the salespeople who are duplicated go next. Just in case you ever work in a company that gets bought out, you'll know if you're in accounting, you'll be fired first. I've seen it like 20 times. It's ridiculous. You'll be talking to one accounting person, and then you'll call them the next week. Oh no, they're gone now. And then it's like, okay, our accounting's back east now. Our plant's still in California, but the accounting's back east now. I go, okay. And then a year later, the plant's gone and everything's back east. So that's usually the way those things work. All right, so any other questions, concerns? Let me see if I make sure I got everything that I wanted to discuss. Okay. So we did the PowerPoint. All right. That's all I have for you today. So I will take some questions from Dosage's perspective. They estimated 17 million if they were to ship the plant, or to sell the plant, as the buyer is the thing you can research and find out. If you know your industry and if you're a smart enough person, you can do the numbers on almost all of this stuff. So yeah, you would know if you knew what they were making and you knew what kind of equipment they had and how much of the equipment they had. Yes, you can estimate what it would cost them to sell, to strip the plant and sell it. I will let you know which team you'll probably Friday. I'll let you guys know. I have not put the PowerPoints on iLearn yet. I will put them on usually at the end of the week on Fridays. I will post the PowerPoints, and then like a day or two later, I'll post the recording of the session. So those of you who joined the class late, you can go to iLearn and follow the link and watch what we did on Monday. It was a fun and riveting and exciting watching me make all kinds of mistakes on Zoom, wasn't it? All right. Is there a thing due before next Monday? I don't know. Look at the syllabus. Is there? Let's look at the syllabus. We're probably going to have to do the case study. So we'll do that. You guys are all reading in your text, right? Getting to yes. So 56 through 94 is where I expect you to be on that. No, I'm having some problems with DRRC. That's why we did the other negotiation next week. So hopefully I'll get that all straightened out between tomorrow and Friday. Attendance is recorded by Brittany and Mia. They go through and they download the attendee list and then mark it down. And they are very OCD, so they have that all worked out. So make sure that you put your full name when you log in to participate. Isn't that right, Brittany?
Yes, sir.
So Brittany and me are going to take care of everybody who's doing for the attendance. David Gonzalez, you go to the DRR, whatever it is, website, and I will email you I will add you on their website when I go there later tonight, and you'll get an email from them. No, the Bullard House is not next. And don't read ahead. Bullard House is kind of fun. That one, you actually have stipulations on how you have to sell it. You can't just, it's not just for money. They have to have stipulations on what they want and certain things. So it makes it kind of interesting. All right.
Professor?
Yes.
Does everyone have access to the cases now, or is anyone still having a bit of trouble getting them?
Some people still have some issues. I will go back on the website and see what's going on with that. I sent them an email. I still haven't got a response. And most likely because everything that's going on, and instead of only a few people using their service, they probably got 50 million people that are teaching from home doing the same thing I am. Okay, so I will work on the case studies today and tomorrow. It's probably too late today. They're probably not there. Okay, so Kaylee, I've had you in another class too, huh, Kaylee? She got the Bullard House, but not the other ones. Okay, so it seems that everybody got the Bullard House. Maybe I will change that to one of the third one.
Professor, I got a link only for the Bullard House from DRRC.
Okay.
And that's the only link I've received from them about downloading anything else. So
Do you remember how much you paid? Because they're $350 a case.
I paid $19.
Yeah, because there was 4 cases.
Yeah, and it says the content had to be released by the professor, and then I would get get the stuff. So
Okay, so okay. So it looks like everybody paid 19, which is right. Okay, so I will go back online and see if maybe I did something wrong or I don't know. So I'll figure it out and we will get it done. Tomorrow, I'll probably have it done tomorrow. All right, Vanessa, what else we got? Tanner? All right. Other questions, concerns? So far, how we doing? You can give me a thumbs up. All right, good. All right, you guys are excused. I'll be here for a few minutes if you guys have any questions. And thank you, Brittany, for your help. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next week. Have a good weekend. Go out and do something. Like go to your backyard and not breathe on anybody.
I have a question.
Sure.
On how I can get access to the 4 cases in the link because I still haven't gotten it.
You don't have access to the link?
No, sorry.
Okay, email me. Did you join the class late?
No, I've been in this class since the first day.
Okay, so if you were on the original roster, then you should have had an email from them.
Okay. Okay, I'll email you. Thank you.
So email me and remind me.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
You too. Take care, Sarah.
Professor, so to get the link, we have to email you first and then you send the link?
No, if you're originally on the roster, I downloaded that and uploaded it to DRRD or whatever they are. And then you should have received an email from them.
I just added the class like a day. I just added the class yesterday.
Okay, so email me and let me know that.
All right, okay, sir. No problem. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Professor, the only thing we have to do by next Monday is just read the book.
Correct. Just keep up with the reading.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, Miss Brittany?
I think we're good. Just wanted to make sure I got everything situated for you guys. Thank you.
I think you're still in your PJs. That's why you're not live, huh?
No, I just like my picture.
That's good. Okay.
I'll go live next time. No problem.
Yeah, and she's all set with backup. So I thought at first that it was just her, but she said, no, you guys are both doing it.
Yes. Yes.
You didn't have an orientation?
I had orientation last quarter because I was grading for a master's class last quarter.
Oh, okay.
So I've already been onboarded, so maybe that's the reason why. And I know that they're really impacted with a million things to do, and a lot of them don't have access to links and applications that they normally have access to. So IT has been working nonstop to create a way for them to access everything remotely, and they're just working on it nonstop, trying to get to that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What class for graduate class did you do the grading for?
It was for, that's a great question. Let me just triple check again. I actually have it right here.
Left a good impression on you, did they?
Pardon me?
He left a really good impression.
It was for business data communications 282.
222?
No, 282.
Oh, 282. Who taught that?
Professor Rich. So it was mainly like Python programming. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, wasn't too bad.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
No problem. My pleasure.
And I will review what you sent me about the Zoom stuff.
Oh, you're gonna like it. You're gonna really, really like it. It's gonna make everything a lot more seamless, and it's really cool because there's nonverbal. The students will have nonverbal abilities, so to like put yes, no, raise hand, go slower, go faster, so forth like that. It's